Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Schillinger. Welcome to today's podcast called Time is Running Out for Your Son. I'm the founder of the Young Men's Ultimate Weekend, a rite of passage adventure camp for young men ages 13 to 20 so they can learn how to handle the challenges of the young adult world. I'm the founder of Challenging Teenage Sons, an organization that helps parents and their teens have more caring and cooperative relationships. If you identify with these most common comments that I hear from parents when they tell me that their son is not willing to do the things he knows he needs to do, then this podcast is really important for you to hear. Here are some of those most common comments about their tween or teen sons he's inside his room all day. He does not want to come outside. Except for his friends, he isolates himself from most everyone. He's learning about the world through his computer and his phone and his friends. He's not willing to explore or be curious about himself or the world. He doesn't want to speak to us, and when he does, he can be disrespectful. He has no skills at accepting failure or making mistakes. And last but not least, he's resistant to becoming his own man. Sound familiar? What I've learned from mentoring tweens and teens for 25 years is that many of them think their comfortable lifestyle is going to go on forever. As I've said in other podcasts, your good son is withdrawing away from you. Our sons are getting hypnotized into a world that causes them to excessively seek pleasure and to consistently avoid pain. And by the way, I am saying this with great compassion for young men like your son. And in fact, I'm saying this with great compassion for young women and for adults who are also addicted to their devices. I'm a doctor who specializes in stress management. Believe me when I say that digital addiction is a real stress causing real symptoms. And for young men, they show signs of digital stress when they become belligerent and disrespectful when their parents try to interfere with their good times. They don't want their dopamine high being interrupted by anyone. I mean, here's what's happening to our sons who spend way too much time on their devices or get distracted by other things. They lose their biological drive to get out and be their own man someday. And as a result of this, some of them don't realize their dependency on you will ever end. They think that this is one big game that goes on forever. I may be exaggerating, but I'm asking you to hear that. And even the ones who do know that this is going to end, they've often lost their desire or their willingness to make a genuine attempt to grow up. I've worked with thousands of young men at the Young Men's Ultimate Weekend and with hundreds of young men privately in my work as a family mentor through Challenging Teenage Sons. What I'm about to tell you is how to challenge your son in a way that will provide some motivation for him to move his life in the right direction. And let me be clear, when I use the word challenge, it doesn't mean to confront or to create conflict with your son. It's a positive intention. It's a way to arouse or activate his own natural biological desire to become more mature and independent. Listen, at their core, I know that young men like your son are good dudes. They have good hearts and they often have good intentions, but they just don't pull it together. And so they withdraw deeper into a world of extended childhood. That's really what's going on. Childhood is being extended. They've become addicted to pleasure and resistant to responsibility. And a lot of it is because they don't know how to take responsibility yet. So it's up to you to show them how. In my work with parents, I like to say, I'm going to initiate you, and I'm going to go initiate you into becoming a mentor and not a parent. It's time to mentor your son, not to parent him, which means don't do so much for him. Teach him how. The first step is to get the point across to your son that there's a time limit to your generosity as a parent. it's crucial to tell him, without anger and with all of your heart and love, that he's going to have to get out at some point, at 18 ideally, to go to college, get a job, or if that he continues to live with you, he will pay rent and other expenses. Basically, you have to calmly and lovingly let him know there's a time limit to your responsibility to take care of him. So let him know right now. If he's 13, he's got 5 years. If he's 17, he's got a year and a half, or 2 years. Let your son know right now that he has a limited amount of time to get his life together so that he can be happy with himself and productive out in the world. Let him know that it's way easier to practice doing the things he knows he needs to do while he's living in your home. Explain that life will not be so easy on him when he's not motivated to do the right things when he's out there on his own. And I assure you, as a parent, once of a teen, now my teens are now 40 and 43, but I assure you that when you say these words to your teen with calmness, conciseness, clarity, compassion, and most importantly, the certainty that you know that what you're saying is true, you don't need more than a few sentences to convey this important information. Don't make them wrong. Just tell them straight up what's true. Don't sugarcoat. Be real and calm. This is how you make the transition from parenting to mentoring, by having this talk. And from here on out, you can help him become more reliable for all the things he needs to do to take control of his life so he can truly make it on his own. Simple things and really crucial things. Offer to show him how to make a to-do list, how to prioritize, how to use the calendar. Offer your son ways to show him how to efficiently clean his room and do his laundry, and things like that. And start when your son is 12, maybe 13 the latest. Don't wait. Listen, you know this. The world is getting more complicated, not less. Your teen needs to learn organizational skills now. So honestly, it all comes back to you. Your son may or may not do these things that you want to teach him, but he will see that you're changing your relationship to him. You're not doing things for him just because he feels like it's your job. Or I hear parents say, well, I want him to enjoy his last year or two of high school before getting out in the real world. Oh my God, I hear that. I understand the loving intention, and it's a mistake. It just is. You need to let him know and not grapple with him about all the stuff he's not doing. Just let him know that at 18, the game of being a kid who has few responsibilities is over. The trick, of course, is how to have these conversations with your son in a way that invites him to actually become more disciplined and not to turn it into another fight with you. Otherwise, he makes you the immature reason to retreat further into his addictions and devices. In closing, I want to say that I believe it's really important that parents and their teens have family mentors, like myself. When you have a family mentor like me, things get smoother. I mean, I teach the parents the exact words to say, the exact things to do in order to motivate their son. And I often mentor the young man on how to get along better with their parents. So when you work with me, there's handouts, there's podcasts to listen to, there's role play, and most importantly, as a family mentor, there's constant contact in between the weekly sessions. If there's a real issue going down or you need support on how to do something, then there's extra time so we can keep up in real time what's going down in your house. I've honed these skills over 25 years of helping parents move their son in the right direction. And as I said in the beginning of the podcast, the purpose of this company, Challenging Teenage Sons, is to show parents and their teen sons how to have more caring and cooperative relationships. If you want to know how I can help you do that, feel free to schedule time with me for a complimentary 20-minute session. Just email me at info@challengingteenagesons.com, and either I will or my assistant will get back to you and explain to you how to schedule that time. Thank you so much for listening.